So, we're gonna go ahead with book number 2, Virtue of Character. But before we're gonna go through that, I wanna point out, don't eat your fucking oats cold. Yes, you've heard me correctly. Don't eat your oats cold. If you're just making them with hot and boiling water, even though you just boiled them in the water boiling thing, and you're not cooking them in a pot or whatever, first of all, I think it tastes better, and second of all, the volume that you get out of it is way bigger. Just eating basically a bowl of, might have been 200 grams of oats, and I gotta say, like, it's been nothing, but when I'm eating them warm or when I'm making them warm, it is way more. Besides the whole fact that I went through, way too much oats the past, week. Anyway. Virtue, then, is of two sorts, virtue of thought and virtue of character. Virtue of thought arises and grows mostly from teaching, that is why it needs experience and time. Virtue of character, i.e. of ethos, or ethos, whatever, results from habit, or ethos. Well, yeah, hence its name ethical, slightly varied from ethos. A stone, for instance, by nature moves downwards, and habituation could not make it move upwards, not even if you threw it up 10,000 times to habituate it. Nor could habituation make fire move downwards or bring anything that is by nature in one condition into another condition. And so the virtues arise in us neither by nature nor against nature. Rather, we are by nature able to acquire them, and we are completed through habit. Virtues, by contrast, we acquire, just as we acquire crafts, by having first activated them. For we learn a craft by producing the same product that we must produce when we have learned it. We become builders, for instance, by building, and we become harpists by playing the harp. Similarly, then, we become just by doing just actions. Temperate by doing temperate actions, brave by doing brave actions. First, then, we should observe that these sorts of states naturally tends to be ruined by excess and deficiency. We see this happens with strength and health, for we must use evident cases, such as these, as witnesses to things that are not evident. For both excessive and deficient exercise ruin bodily strength, and similar, too much or too little eating or drinking ruins health, whereas the proportionate amount produces, increases, and preserves it. Yeah. And I've seen that, by the way, if you work out quite a lot, if you move quite a lot, but you don't eat nearly as much as you need, by being like, okay, I'm hungry, but I don't give a fuck about that. It's a very, very dumb idea. You're gonna feel incredibly bad. And also not being able to sleep and, way, 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 way more things. Anyway, first then, we should observe that these sorts of states naturally tends to be ruined by excess and, I've just read that. Strength, for instance, arises from eating a lot, from withstanding much hard labor, and it is the strong person who is most capable of these very actions. It's the same with the virtues. By the way, I do want to point out it's very interesting that they say from eating a lot and from withstanding much hard labor. Yeah, you pretty much get strong by, partly by building muscle, but to optimize it, eating quite a lot makes sense, Optimize it. Underline that 100 times, optimize it. It's not the only way, and you're definitely going to get stronger by not eating just excessive amounts of food, But, yeah. For abstaining from pleasure makes us become temperate, and once we have become temperate, we are most capable of abstaining from pleasures. Virtue is about pleasures and pains. The actions that are its sources also increase it, or, if they are done badly, ruin it. And its activity is about the same actions as those that are its sources. But surely, actions are not enough, even in the case of crafts, for it is possible to produce a grammatical result by chance, or by following someone else's instructions. To be grammarians, then we must both produce a grammatical result and produce it grammatically. That is to say, produce it in accord with the grammatical knowledge in us. The agent must also be in the right state when he does them. First, he must know that he is doing virtuous actions. Second, he must decide on them and decide on them for themselves. And third, he must also do them for a firm and unchanging state. The many, however, do not do these actions. They take refuge in arguments, thinking that they are doing philosophy and that this is the way to become excellent people. They are like a sick person who listens attentively to the doctor but acts on none of his instructions. Such a course of treatment will not improve the state of the sick person's body, nor will the many improve the state of their souls by this attitude to philosophy. Now virtue is about feelings and actions, in which excess and deficiency are in error and in cure blame, whereas the intermediate condition is correct and wins praise, which are both proper to virtue. Virtue then is a mean insofar as it aims at what is intermediate. That is why error is easy and correctness is difficult, since it is easy to miss a target and difficult to hit it, and so for this reason also excess and deficiency are proper to vice, the mean to virtue, for we are noble in only one way, but bad in all sorts of ways. We must also examine what we ourselves drift into easily, for different people have different natural tendencies toward different goals, and we shall come to know our own tendencies from the pleasure or pain that arises in us. We must drag ourselves off in the contrary direction, for if we pull far away from error, as they do in straightening bandwidth, we shall reach the intermediate condition. Which is an amazing way to say, okay, just finding your true self and how things should really be. This is enough then to make it clear that in every case the intermediate state is praised, but we must sometimes incline forward the excess, sometimes towards the deficiency. For that is the easiest way to hit the intermediate and good condition. For example, when it comes to eating, eating way more than you need to be eating, you're gonna basically see how much you need to eat, But if you never have experienced the feeling of being stuffed and way too full and feeling like throwing up, you will never ever know what is too much, and you will never ever know what place you need to be at when it comes to eating, And also when you eat way too little, and you have to make that experience as well, then you will come to the conclusion that you need to eat more on a regular basis. But anyway, amazing book, amazing things. Gonna see you next time. Bye bye.